welcome to the cottage. My name is Hannah. I'm your host for this knitting, crochet, making, etc. podcast. And if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for checking me out. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. I know I'm not the most popular podcaster, but that's okay. I do this for fun. Where are we? Let's get started. We do not have any finished objects because I've been knitting on all the things, but not finishing all the things. And that's where we're at. So let's get started with the newest whip, which is, before I forget, I rearranged our bookshelf. So I moved the paper over here and I made a little shelf for my special yarns. I still have, you can't see this, but off screen I have all of like my shop yarns, so more of like the acrylics or the mixes or the just the random. It's for the shop, it's not for my personal. So this is my little personal stash. I have to say I'm pretty proud that it's so small. But also I still want all the things. So, my beverage of the podcast today is some bubbly passion fruit. It's a new to me one and I quite enjoy it so far. Now whips. First let's show off the one that y'all haven't seen yet. So this is my newest design that I'm still working the kinks out in, and even more annoying, I ran out of the white, so I'm using this Dishy cotton from Knit Picks, and the white was a ball that I had of the sugar and cream. Yes, and it was just in the white to do this color work bag. I have it all written up, but when I sent it to testers, there were some issues, and I realized that like I needed to step away from it for a while to where I could really not remember in some ways how I did it. So then I went and started following the pattern that I had given to the testers, and I was like, oh, I see what I did. So very helpful in that sense. I might need to go back and rejig a few more things, but I think we're a lot closer to maybe initially a cheaper pattern than some of my other stuff, just because of the fact that I still think it needs more feedback. So I don't want to like overcharge too much for a pattern that still needs work, but at the same time, I have found a lot of difficulty in looking for tech editors for crocheted patterns. The other thing that I've come across specifically with crocheted patterns is you have a lot of people who want charts, and I never had charts for crochet patterns when I was learning. So you have all these people now who want charts and only read charts, and I'm like, I have tried. I found a really great program. It's a great program. It's just beyond my knowledge in trying to figure out how in the world to write up a crochet chart. So I apologize. I know, sorry. That's something that like a lot of people request and need, but unfortunately that is not in my realm. And until I get to a point where I can afford a tech editor on a regular basis, specifically for crochet, let alone find one, this is where we're at. So yay! Also, I apologize. I am dripping, but I went for a walk before I did this, and it is steamy in the sun and amazing in the shade, but I still had to take a shower afterwards. So this is where we're at. next up, let's show the one I've made the most progress on, which is my Nora sweater. So I realized last week I couldn't really show y'all stuff because I didn't have things, because I'm recording on my phone, even though I have the nice camera, but it doesn't record easily. Anyways, I wanted to show y'all a picture of the Nora sweater. That way y'all could get like a better visual of what it looks like. And hopefully, yes, it does. This translates. So this is a finished version of the Nora sweater that I'm going for. It is a pattern by Irene Lin. Said she was a Taiwanese designer. Her patterns are just, whew, stunning. She just, you gotta look at this. Just look at all these beautiful, feminine, delicate knits that are just filling up my favorites right now. The next one of hers, I'm going back and forth between the glint vest and the Laura vest. I think I'm kind of leaning towards the Laura. They're both beautiful. Even the Lana, if I could figure out how to like make it more negative ease for myself, they're just, they all look so classic, but at the same time modern, and it's just, her eye for design is stunning. Just huge props, huge props. Go check her out if you haven't seen her. She does some beautiful stuff. So I'm doing mine. I'm so glad I thought about using my tablet for this. This is great. Well, I don't need it for that actually, because I'm doing mine in Knit Picks Aloft and the Superwash Cabaretta fingering weight. So the Cabaretta is in Sagebrush and the Aloft is in Iceberg. And if you look, you can see like this one's definitely like a baby blue, robin's egg blue, but very light. And this one has more of like a minty blue to it, almost like a mint chocolate chip together. Like you can see the difference when they're together for sure, but when they're knit up together, they are just stunning. Okay, so last time I think was somewhere up here. I can't put this thing down. It is a lot of knitting. I think I talked about like this construction is, I messed up, but I'm gonna leave it. It's so cool. It has my mind boggled. And these sleeves are so beautiful, and this halo, which is why this one is the one with the fuzz, because it's so fuzzy and it's so delightful and so soft, so soft. I'm saying that word a lot, but I cannot wait for this thing to be finished, even though we're still, like I said, it's steamy outside. But I've gotten as far as splitting for the sleeves. I did a teeny tiny bit of body just to have something to work with here, but then I picked up the one sleeve and finished knitting the main portion, and currently I'm on the ribbing. Now, I did do a modification. I didn't do as many repeats because I don't have very long arms, and I wanted it to be puffy, but not super puffy. Hope that makes sense. So what I was doing was like trying it on and kind of seeing, where does this end? Does it end where I want it to? And then I would like hold the tape measure and kind of figure out like, I want the full ribbing, so where should the ribbing start, kind of thing. So as a result, I did less repeats of the sleeve than I should have. I did switch needles, so I had this on my ChiaGoo red lace size US 4. and spoiler alert, I finally got some interchangeables. I waited way too long to get interchangeables because I don't know why it took me so long. I've been knitting for years now, and I've wanted them for years. I got a ball winder, and I got a skein hank holder spinner thing. I'm not thinking of the right word for it right now. I got all these things very early on, but did I get interchangeables? No, and I love them. So I did get wooden ones initially, even though I like the metal lace red cable. More because we have a plane trip coming up at the end of the year, and I wanted to be ready. I wasn't sure what project or projects I would be bringing at that time. So yes, spoiler, acquisitions. This is my only acquisition. Probably should have talked about this first since it's my only acquisition. Anyways, the ChiaGoo wooden set. I love it. Yes, and I know I probably have some people who are like screaming of, why did you switch from metal to wooden? Honestly, my gauge didn't change, so I'm a freak. Which paid off in the end for me. No, but I wanted to have wooden interchangeables so that they would be less of an alert when we go through the security words. Anyways, back. But so I will say this, I do really like them. I like the tips. The wooden tips are very nice. The cables on them, which I'm a little surprised because ChiaGoo, the red lace cables are amazing and so good. But these spin, they're called spin. So if you see that, it kind of does this thing. I think because of that spin factor, there's a teeny tiny little join that is fairly obvious. Here's the thing, I think it probably wouldn't be as obvious on the larger sets of needles versus the small. Because of the project, I'm working with small needles. These are 3 for the ribbing, and I have the 4s over here ready for the second sleeve, and it's just, I think it's specifically the smaller sizes, and it could also be because I'm holding this double with a mohair lace weight. I think this mohair bit catches right here, so that's a bit annoying, but it's manageable. So just a little warning. Great, I'd say 9.5 out of 10 for these needles. The interchange is great, and the join for the metal bits right here, because there's a little bit of metal on the cable and then there's a little bit of metal on the wood. That join, perfect, so good. It's just that where that cable spins. It's where that cable spins. I will say this, one of the things that also kind of like, because I've always wanted the red lace interchangeables with the metal tips. The thing that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. It doesn't hurt to have extra cables, whether they're the ones I like or not, for things like I have one cable in here for the body with the little stoppers holding it together. I have another cable over here on the sleeves with the needles holding that, and then I have the third over here on the other sleeve. So I've got all 3 small cables in here right now, which is fine because from what I was doing when I was doing my research, in theory, and please feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, but so if you if you look, they don't really talk about the spins on here, but okay, yes. So I got really silent here. I'm so sorry. But from what I understand with the way their interchangeable sets work, I should be able to put the red lace cables on both the metal and the wooden. If I understood it correctly. If someone has experience with this, please let me know in the comments. Either good or bad. Am I right? Am I wrong? Did I understand this correctly? Did I do my research right? I don't know. Somebody please confirm my suspicions. But yes, so that's my Nora sweater coming along. Fantastic and so fluffy. We've got the best halo in the world on this right now, and I can't wait till it's finished. But I'm forcing myself to put it to the side so that I can finish my other Galway pullover. So this one, for returning viewers, you will recognize this. I've already knit one. And there was nothing wrong with it. It fits great. It's so wearable and so perfect. But this one's actually my sister's. She saw it and she wanted the exact same pattern, the exact same yarn, the exact same size. So I'm knitting the same all over again. Good news is though, I finished both sleeves already. I finished the back and I'm getting there with the front. I'm at the point where it's like I've knit this before. And it's a very enjoyable knit. It's definitely one that I don't mind knitting, but at the same time I want to knit that Nora sweater so much that I'm having to stop and force myself to work on this Galway. It's frustrating, but I'm getting there. I'm trying to like set aside time in the morning and make sure, hey, you're working on this Galway, and then in the evenings you're working on the Galway. In between, I might pick up something for the shop and either crochet or knit on that, depending on what it is. Between certain hours is shop knitting time, and then between other hours it's this, and then on the weekend I'm allowed to work on the Nora. That's my solution right now. It's not going terrible. Last but definitely not least, but also one that's very no promises. So I know sometimes designers like to share their works in progress before they even write out a pattern. Sometimes they don't. I'm not sure where this is gonna go. So working on the Nora kind of inspired this, and then I went and binge watched 1 week, 2 weeks. I was sick for part of it, so that's why I was laid up in bed and I was just like watching all the podcast. But I realized Andrea Mowry had a podcast. Did not realize this before. Love her format. Love that it's just questions that she answers, and you like learned so much about knitting watching her podcast. It's great. But watching her combined with working on the Nora sweater, I had, oh, and it was a triple combination. I also discovered Hive's Knits and Natters. I'm saying that wrong, but I will link everything I'm saying down below. I don't remember her name. I went back and watched all of her stuff too when I was sick. I watched a lot of podcasts when I was sick because I would like watch and then fall asleep and then watch, and you know how it is. Sinus infection, nothing serious. So, but anyways, I had this idea in my head, and it's terrible timing, but not terrible timing. So I pictured this cotton wool blend, drop shoulder, top down t-shirt idea. Something that's mostly simple, but I loved that shoulder construction of the Nora Sweater, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. And so this little guy popped onto my needles out of my brain. It still has lots of fiddling, so no promises, but this little section right here is inspired by the Nora Sweater. It's definitely not the same construction, but it's a similar construction, and it was heavily inspired by that. So thank you. I don't know where she originally got this, and I did an I-cord bind cast on, which I've never done. But when I had this in my head, that's what the neckline was. So this is the neckline. This is kind of a terrible way to show it, but this is kind of where it's starting. It has no shaping. I imagine it to be an adventurous beginner t-shirt kind of thing. I am nowhere near needing tech editing or drafting, but I want to do that if I can get past a certain point. There's a certain point in my head that I keep thinking about and thinking about and thinking about, and I think it's one of those things I'm just going to have to knit it to figure it out. But yes, so this is where we're at so far. This is I don't remember the yarn. It was some yarn that my mom had bought for a shawl, and I used up what she was using for the shawl, and I'd forgotten about the rest, and I had like these little scraps, and so right now it's very scrappy. There's about 3 colors in it already. But because this is just like the first drafting of it, I don't mind it being scrappy. I'm probably going to be ripping it out back and forth. So this is where we're at with that. No promises, no guarantees, but if you'd like to see the process, subscribe and stay tuned. That's all my works in progress right now. I don't really have, like I said, I don't have any finished objects. My only real acquisition was, excuse me, the needles, which I'm super excited about. Again, I don't know why it took me so long, but I did have a million ideas popping through my head of what I want to knit, which is really frustrating because I need to finish these. I cannot cast on all the things, but I want to cast on all the things. I think most of you can kind of understand, but I did have one queued up and ready, and I have the yarn for it. So it is the Welcome Autumn Cowl by Monica Ann. Let me show you. It's so pretty. This is the cowl. It's just a super simple 3 color straightforward color work. And I have these options. So I have the black, which I'm kind of leaning towards as the base. I have an orange instead of that golden, like orangey mustard. This is very much like a pumpkin orange because it's what I used for my PSL mittens. And then I have this creamy white, but I was debating, I'm still debating about, should I switch these out and have it like a brown background? That'd be interesting, to where it'd be like these three. Or I debated about keeping the black and the white, but having like the brown as the leaves, for just something else. Honestly, even I could do all four and have like one row of brown and two rows of orange, or vice versa. One row of orange and two rows of brown. I don't know. I have a lot of options, so I might put this as a poll on Instagram, but I'm gonna wait till it comes time to knit it. I'm gonna let this sit. I have it like ready. It's next to my desk. I stare at it all the time. I haven't even bought the pattern yet, so you know, that's what's holding me from knitting this up like right now. Plus the fact that, let me see if I'm remembering this right, the needles that it uses are the ones that are currently on my socks. And my goodness, that sparkling water has me burping. Apologies. Those are on my socks that are in the car. I did not bring them in this time. I did start on the heel though, so I probably should have brought them in, because that's quite a contrast. But you'll just have to wait and see those next time. Suspense. That's like my number one queued up. I have the yarn, I have the needles, it's ready to go. The other thing that I had all queued up and ready was the Chevy Hat by Andrea Mowry. So I binge watched her podcast, and I'm looking at her designs, and I did not realize that apparently she's secretly my favorite designer, because I have so many of her designs favorited and in my queue already, and I just never put it together. So it's a Chevy Hat. I'm thinking this yarn for that, it'd be super cute. The other thing is, we have a friend who's expecting, and I don't know if y'all have seen the knitted animal friends. They are ridiculously adorable. But I want to make two things for her. Minimum is the this little jacket. I'm not getting a good picture of it right now. But the other thing that is like my goal is this super cute little horse. I found the yarn for it and everything. I have it sitting in my Amazon cart waiting. But I told myself she's not due till December. She definitely does not watch this podcast. Lord, I hope she doesn't. Well, if she does, maybe she doesn't know I'm talking about her. I don't know. Anyways, I have it all ready, but I'm going to wait till closer to due date than right away, because I just have all the things I have to finish, even though I want to cast on all the things. I'm excited for that though. That will be my first knitted stuffed animal, because I've crocheted lots of stuffed animals. It's so easy to do the amigurumi crochet. And I just never thought about knitting stuffed animals, so I'm excited to try that. I also love that like the book comes with all these cute little clothes, so it's like gifts that you can keep giving the kid years later, even after, like, just randomly, like, just give the kid a gift. I don't know, I think it's really cute. So there's that. I have been trying to like think of other things for some of my stash, but I've got just so many ideas running through my head right now. I just want to make all the things for autumn and winter, and I just don't have the time. It's so frustrating. Also, my hands. This is a first for me, but my hands have really been hurting, and I think it's because of the heaviness of the Galway sweater on the metal needles combined with the tininess of the Nora. I should get something else in here and mix it up, have like a chunky knit that's easier to hold. But I'm just trying to like stretch and massage my hands and do the stretches that you're supposed to do and try to do other things that aren't the same motion as knitting and crochet, but I have not been very successful. So here we are. I think that's it. I've got a million things on my queue that I want to just buy all the yarn for and make, but I have to finish the things I need to make first. I think that's where we're at. So yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. It's pumpkin spice season now, so if you like that classic PSL, go get yourself some. Pretend it's chilly outside, even though it's probably not. And just enjoy your day. Please leave me a comment on what you're knitting if you've gotten this far. I'm curious to see how many people watch it all the way through, even though I'm rambling. Yeah, no, I'm rambling. I think that's all. You can find me on Instagram as Hannah's Catch-All Cottage. You can find my website as Hannah's Catch-All Cottage, where you can find both finished objects made to order and patterns. So depending on your making level or patience level, if you need it right away, if you're willing to wait, or if you're willing to make it yourself. You can find me on Ravelry, links below. And I think that's it. Yeah, I'm just stalling at this point. I should end this. Okay. Hope y'all have a great day. Goodbye.